Welcome, everybody. This is Books Cafe, presented by free-ebooks.net. I'm your host, Scott Patton. Happy to be here. Glad that you're joining us this beautiful morning. I'm in Medellin, Colombia. I have a very, very special guest who's about an hour and a half south of the romantic city of Paris, France. So I'm really excited to be having him on and hear about his book and how things are in Europe. Before we do that, I want to take a moment and just share with you a couple exciting things. First of all, a sneak preview of the book that we're going to be talking about and the author. And it's Taking Action for a Better Tomorrow by Jeremy P. Boggess. And it's also available for free on free-ebooks.net. And so you can get it, you can download it. It's already had 722 downloads, and it's only been published on free-ebooks for a couple months. So it's really excellent. It's got 5-star rating, and it's also available on Amazon, and we're going to be getting to that in a minute. So at free-ebooks.net, you can download 5 free ebooks every month for free. So head over, sign up, and if you're an author, click the I'm an author button, because we want to know about our authors. Our whole purpose is to support the growth of the communities that our authors are creating. Okay, so we have over 5 million members. We send out emails, newsletters to people that are interested in romance novels, that are interested in sci-fi novels, that are interested in business books. If you're a student, we've got a whole pile of academic books for you that you can take a look at and read. And if you're want to read to your children, we've got children's books. So we've got pretty much, we've got 100 categories. We've got something for everybody, I'm pretty sure. And but our purpose is to support our authors. And in today's world, you can self-publish, and there's a whole bunch of marketing issues around that. If you go to the major publishers and you want to get pushed that way, you have to be already a significant celebrity in your market, have a huge following. And many authors, when they're just starting out, their mom, their dad, their brother, sister, maybe their spouse read their book, and that's about it. And so by taking advantage of our services at free-ebooks.net, you're able to start growing that audience that wants more and more of what it is that you're writing about. And when you get a few thousand downloads or 10,000 downloads of your books, and you go to some of the larger publishers and you show them that, you prove, and of course there's other things that you need to do too, but we're not going to be getting into the marketing today. But you're starting to prove to the publishers that you're worth having a contract with them and publishing, and that's really what we're all about and what we want to do. And in order to support our authors, we have a special event coming up very, very shortly, and it's the free ebook Book Profit School 2.0 Summit. And I'm involved with it. Ray Brennan is hosting it, and it's free, and it's starting next week. So, in fact, Ray Brennan is going to be on in an hour with me, talking with me again about the summit. So if you're an author and you're interested in finding out more about different things in terms of marketing your book, we've got so many different topics and major trainers that are appeared here. Some names that you may know, Nathan Rocky Anderson's a good friend of mine. Ray Brennan, of course. Stu McLaren's awesome. There I am. And it's 4 or 5 days, I believe. And there's Daniel Hall, who was on the show about a month ago. Excellent trainer, and his enthusiasm for books and book marketing is infectious. And I think if you're an author, it's a very lonely profession, if I can put it that way. It's just us and our keyboard. And the fact is that we're not alone. There's lots of support, lots of training, things that you can learn to help improve the quality of your writing and also the reach of your book. So that is happening next week, and the link to this is in the comments, either below or over to the side. So make sure you click on the link, join us. It's free, and of course it's from free-ebooks.net. That's what we try to do, and it's yeah, I'm really excited about it, and I hope that you join us there. All right. So with that, just give me a second here. I want to tell you a little bit about our guest. Since he was a small child, he felt that there would be a chain of events set in motion, and that his task would be to help us through those changes. And I don't think anyone would argue that the last year has been nothing if not a chain of events and a lot of change from the change. He was born in the United States, and in 2016, he moved to Europe. Now he's presently just south of Paris in France. He ran for the Idaho Senate several times as an independent with a desire to make positive contributions to the lives of people. So in 2008, while running for office, he self-published his first book, and it was about philosophical observations called Thoughts and Responsibilities. So with that, I want to welcome our guest, Jeremy P. Boggess. Okay. Hey, Jeremy, how are you doing?
Just fine. How are you today?
Good, good. So welcome to the show. And you're just south of Paris, and I'm in Medellin, Colombia. I love to travel. I was in Paris about 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. And one of my goals is to get to Portugal, Spain, and France next year. So hopefully we can have a cup of coffee at the local coffee shop with a croissant.
Why not? Yeah, Portugal is. I have been to Portugal, and it's very nice. It's a very nice city.
Awesome.
Lisbon and Porto are very nice cities, and the countryside is beautiful as well.
I've heard so many good things about Portugal, and it was my goal to be there now last year. And of course, there's no flights in or out of Colombia right now, so I have to be patient. And so, but tell us a little bit about how you got started writing.
Well, I've always liked to write ever since I would probably say in grade school. I started writing little short stories and poetry and such things like that. I'd say probably about in junior high, maybe high school, I started writing more philosophical observations, and it would be just little snippets on pieces of paper, observations that I've see, and possible patterns of event, not patterns such as if this happens, maybe this happens. I mean, probable events, not nothing. Yeah, nothing, not metaphysical or anything of that nature.
So you're just watching life go by, and you'd say, "Wow, like when this sort of thing occurred, then this would be sort of the result."
Right, and thus maybe if this happens, maybe that would happen. And I write it on little pieces of paper, and eventually little cassette voice recorder. I heard people see. I don't know how many people
We're dating ourselves because I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's not
before you had the phone and you could just leave a memo on the phone.
Yeah, that's what I do now. But
in those days, we had these big things that we would talk into, and
yes,
it was really cool.
The old rotary phones, and
the rotary phones. Actually, I took my sons when they about 20 years ago now, when they were about 10 and 7. And I think it was my mom's place, my mom and dad's place. They had a rotary phone, and it was actually worked, right? So I said, "Why don't we call Auntie Arlene?" She said, "Okay, well, there's the phone, John. Like, go." So he picks up the thing, and then he looks at the rotary dial, and he's just frozen. He has no clue what to do. He'd never seen that before. It was so funny. So Jeremy, what keeps you inspired with your writing?
Um, just basically my desire to see to hope that the future that there it's a better future, to hope that there's a better future. um and everybody, whether they like it or not, believes in a future. I mean, even a child will carve his name or his initials into a tree or into a bench,
Right.
and in the hopes of maybe someone further, someone tomorrow or the next day, seeing his name, or
Right.
however long. And I think it's important that we look towards the future, and we try to make positive contributions to the future. And that's kind of what really inspires me, is I
Right.
see.
And you're right. Like how many times do we see on an old tree a heart carved and two
Yeah,
initials?
yes,
And obviously, young love, could be kids, could be teenagers,
yeah,
could be old, us old guys. I know I do that from time
yeah,
to time. and
yeah,
it's there almost forever, right?
yeah,
And it's just that hope of the future.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So what brought you to France?
Well, like I said, I ran for the state senate, and I felt, and I wrote some books, and tried to contribute to the community wherever I could. And I just felt that I was kind of spinning my wheels there. And I just felt I needed to. I don't want to get into proverbs, but I needed to go to Kadar. I needed to see for myself, and experience for myself. And I hope that, you know um, maybe my writing, maybe someone will read my writing, and think about it, and it just maybe a small pebble, or a drop in the pond. It's just a small ripple, because that ripple could affect another ripple, and
Right.
and sooner or later down the line, there could be someone who makes this tremendous contribution, and not really knowing, based on this, based on that, based on this, not really, but you kind of contributed to it. I mean,
Right.
yeah, it's nothing, no fancy acknowledgments or anything like, but maybe generations back, or a generation or so, or years ago, you contributed. I still remember two of my favorite books that I read as a child, is by Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury,
Awesome book.
and Animal Farm by George Orwell,
Yeah.
and to show um, the two dangers of the extremes,
Right.
and those books really inspired me to write, and yeah.
I would add 1984 to
Yeah,
my list of inspiring books. But I read those two books that you mentioned, and 1984, and I think how different I would be. And you're right. Like, I didn't read them to I didn't know the message.
yes,
I got it.
exactly.
Right. Then you read the book, and then it made me look at it, just like a 1% shift in how I see the world. And
Yeah,
now all of a sudden, I like to read the news, and then I'll post parts of articles on my Facebook page, and half the time I go hashtag 1984, because it's just coming true what he was writing, right?
yes, of course. It's and a lot of those writers were way ahead of their time.
They were.
Yeah.
So So now you're in France.
Yeah.
You've been there a few years now. Do you plan on staying for longer, or are you going?
Well, time would tell. I found someone, and she's a good woman, so I think I'll stay here for a while and see what. Yeah, and so yeah, I plan on. I I you can't really say. There's things that you hope and you work to, but time is fluid. You never know what exactly is going to happen in the future.
That's
So
right. Well, I
but
never thought I'd be spending 9 months in Colombia. I was planning to
yeah,
spend 2 weeks here, and I mean, the world is so full of doom and gloom and everything else, and I'm almost afraid to admit that I'm really glad that I got to stay here for this length of time, and almost, well, I have put down some roots, and I will always come back here. But and like you said, who knows the future? I might come back here permanently. I might not. I mean, that's not a decision that I'm making today, but it's certainly in the realm of possibilities. And 5 years ago, it was not even a consideration. So
right.
things change. So let's talk a little bit about your book, Jeremy. And I'm just going
Sure.
to bring it up. I have it on the Amazon page here, and I also have it on the free ebooks page, and I'll kind of flip back and forth. Both pages are linked in the comments. We
Okay.
really want you to support Jeremy. So if you can well, first of all, and we also want you to support free-ebooks.net. So we're hoping that you will do us a favor and download from both places and leave a review and 5 stars in both places. And there's been 10 reviews on 10 reviews on Amazon, and there's, I think, 2 reviews on free-ebooks.net. So I hope that you'll just copy and paste the reviews in both places, right? It's free, so you don't have to, not going to cost you anything to download from both. But by putting the reviews in both places, you're helping us to reach out to other readers who might be interested in looking at Jeremy's books. So here we go, Jeremy, Taking Action for a Better Tomorrow. What is the book about? It's obvious what it's about from the title, but tell us a little bit more about what it's about.
Well, it's more philosophical observations. I just want people to think Let me see. Let me adjust the camera here. Sorry about that. It's my wall back here. I tend to put notes on it and write on it, and it's butcher paper. So if I make a mistake, I can just tear it off, and then there's another layer underneath. Well, back to your question. I want people to think about the actions that they take and the contributions and try to make a positive contribution wherever you can. And it's kind of hard to describe. I just here, let me if I actually can, it might be easier if I can just go ahead and read a quick,
Sure. Yeah,
minutes.
read a little bit from your book.
Okay. This is now remember I wrote this in 2019. I printed it in late 2019 before all of the changes that we're experiencing and occurring. And I'll just go ahead and read the first part of chapter 1. And it's titled Chapter 1, Changes Occurring in the Fractionalized World of Today. Okay.
Okay.
And the first section is called Threshold. I feel that something is happening worldwide. I believe that we now stand at the threshold of a current society and maybe even the future of our species. Is this a new dawn or the end? Some changes are occurring that are beyond the ability and daring of our modern world to even report. No matter where your politics, beliefs, or tendencies lean, we must admit that there are strange movements and occurrences happening now. As of late, the world seems to be suffering from more serious growing pains and changes than it has ever experienced before. Yes, there has always been, yes, we have always had chaos, and there always has been discontent in all societies throughout time. However, it seems that in the world today, the numbers of the discontented are growing faster than in previously recorded rates. There seems to be a higher rate of growing observable discontent, not only within the commonly thought of social groups where discontent is normally found, but it also seems to be growing within more diverse ranges of societies found in the world. The numbers seem to be growing faster in proportion to that of past societies. We have observably become more fractionalized, not just on national or cultural levels, but also at a microcosmic levels within societies, and even sometimes within the individual. It seems that the world is more chaotic than it has ever been in the past. Perhaps it has always been like this, and we have not noticed it until our current technologies and communication networks have allowed us to see it. But I believe that the chaos in this period of change is different and unlike any experienced in past generations. Never in the accepted recorded history of humanity has there been such frequency, speed, and diversity in change, such ability and opportunity for change, and such quick and easy methods for it to spread in our societies, ideologies, and our world in general. With the growth of the world, increased population, new interconnectedness, and all of our various advancements and other changes, our world appears to becoming increasingly more fractionalized. Many people seem to become increasingly fractionalized, polarized, or both. We are seeing the world changing exponentially and in more diverse areas before our eyes. Our current world as a whole is experiencing these changes. These shifts seem to be happening more simultaneously with other world experiences. They seem to be occurring more frequently, quickly, and even in ever widening range of areas, both old and new. Some of these changes are coming at an almost exponential rate. Every generation has experienced unprecedented advancement and changes relative to their own previous life experiences. The world is changing and becoming rearranged in almost every way unimaginable and sometimes even unimaginable ways. It is altering in a way that past experiences have never experienced before. These changes may not even be seen coming from. These changes may even be some coming from a multitude of areas. They may be taking place simultaneously. They may be seen as taking place both independently as well as affecting the changes of each other. Two of these areas that are changing are coming from are coming change. Two of these areas that are coming from are terrorism and global economics. More areas that are changing in our world are political and geographical. Yet another area is the technological world. Unfortunately, we have become a world where valid, tangible data is the measurement of in the measurement of statistics and studies have become a point of debate. We have become a world where subjectivism has replaced deductive and reason by some. A world where the deduction has been corrupted by subjectivism. A study is believed or not based on its data, but who produces or compiles it. back to the subject at hand. There are many who believe we are experiencing simultaneously changes, including but not limited to scientific breakthroughs, sociological changes, cultural changes, and changing migratory patterns of various species, including those of our own human species. Some some even some even say that there are currently uncommon global environmental and climatic changes. Some go even further and contend that there are genetic changes occurring within some younger generations, resulting from how they have adapted their bodies and minds to accompany technology. Even the speeds and ways in which we distribute, examine, integrate, and exchange information are changing at explosive rates compared to the past. Perhaps we are even not aware of all of these changes, big and small, as well as their causes and effects that our world is experiencing. Let us look closer at these changes that we have experienced and know how to be true from our own and know what to be true from our own observations. Sorry, it's a little sorry.
That was excellent, Jeremy. That's hopefully everybody's got a taste of your book. It's obviously very well thought out, very well written, and I think you hit on some major points. And you're absolutely right. If CNN says it, half the world doesn't believe it. If Fox says it, half the world doesn't believe it. If it's the guy you like in politics says it, half the world doesn't believe it, based only on the fact that that person said it or that group said it. And it's really hard to have intelligent conversations when you bring something to the table to talk about and it just gets, that's that guy, forget him. And you're right also about the changes in the migratory patterns and how we're behaving. It's and hopefully we can find some solutions.
And again, this is written 2019, so this is, of course, before the pandemic that we're experiencing right now.
Right.
But all these things run in cycles, and that's one of the things that we never really. Unfortunately, we have a hard time learning from our own lessons. I mean, the Spanish flu back in the early 1900s, and
yeah. Yes, you're right. We need to study our history. We need to learn our history so that we don't repeat our history. And it certainly seems like we haven't learned that lesson yet.
And that's what I'm afraid of is with the abilities, such like the a I don't in my book I mentioned that there could be a spurned biochemist in their basement that could really release a pandemic in the world. Of course, that it has. This is. I just want to make clear that this is not talking about this one, but there's also hope. I mean, in my book that the a intelligent person, a computer, a science. Mathematician, scientific engineer could be sitting at a computer, and he could have, or she could have, a brilliant epiphany and come up with an equation that could be the basis to solving a lot of the world's problems. There is, I mean, the world is a lot of doom and gloom right now, but it's the individual. The individual has, in today's world, unlike the past, has the ability to make a significant positive change.
Right.
I mean, they're not. They can't. They're not limited to the horse or the buggy or just go down to the town crier. Speaking. They can. And there are a lot of people that push the negative online and
Right.
but it's a tool that positive people can be making a positive change, and that's and I'm just worried that with the abilities that we have today, that there could be some sort of something that could happen, and we could lose it. We could lose
Right.
what we have, and
We're at a tipping point
yeah,
where 200, 300 years ago, it was inconceivable that someone could do something that would destroy life or the human life.
yeah,
And now it's like we can all imagine probably 50 different ways that could happen very easily. And the other side of that is, like you said, when you've got 7 billion people and a certain number of them are going to be incredibly smart, and if they put their minds to solving the problem instead of creating a problem, then we could have solutions that would turn this into the utopia that it really should be.
yeah, yes.
Awesome. So, Jeremy, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate having you on the show. And I just want to bring up again in the comments, there's Jeremy's Amazon link, and here's our free ebooks link. Please support Jeremy. Head over to both places, download the book. It's free. Leave a review, leave a 5-star review, and just taking that few minutes out of your day to do that, and then however long it takes you to learn and read Jeremy's book is really going to help change the world. Because, like Jeremy said, we just create this little ripple. We never know when it combines with other ripples to really change people's lives and for the better.
Thank you,
So,
Scott.
before we go and sign off, any last, although I think what you just said was probably a really good.
I would love to take any questions if anybody has any questions.
Right. If you've got any questions. And also don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss any of our episodes coming up. So far, we have no questions. So with that, Jeremy, thank you very much for joining us. And thank you, everybody, for watching. And we look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.
Thank you, Scott.